All right then. So the last hour of the first ever Connectathon. Violeta, please take the stage.
Well, dear friends, beautiful people, how do we feel in the last hour? Hey, come on, we made it. It was a short night. It was a short night, was incredible, full of insights and this honest, open-hearted energy that just really want to do something useful, something good, something to move forward and co-create a chance for these beautiful human beings, along with other beings on this planet Earth, a chance to evolve. So I'm actually speechless. During this 24 hours of Connectathon, we also launched G100 Balkan tour, where 100 global projects are connecting, and Ecocivilisation is part of it. And what I can share with you is the messages were very similar, but there are different levels of engagements and different topics that are being covered, but the sincere heart energy is there. So I think it's our responsibility to continue to ride this wave and constantly set new grounds that do not allow the destruction to continue to spread. That's why I provoked Pavel before. How can the destruction of the world happen if we exist? And that is something that I take deeply into my heart and soul. And at the same time, I would like to share just a few conclusions of the 6-hour Ancient Future Wisdom series. That was yet another proof of concept. Can we build on the content of the previous session and go around the globe and come up with some common understanding of the issue and possible some common solutions? And we have a lot to learn from this circle. And we started with in Africa. Then we moved to Americas. We moved to Japan, India, Myanmar, and at the end, Europe, to Iceland and to Slovenia and to Scotland. And what I can say is that the ancient wisdoms are being awakened on a broad scale all over the world. They've been awakened through stories, genetic memories, symbols, collective consciousness, and technologies that try to capture some of the behaviors and wisdoms of the ancients. It is becoming also very obvious that fundamentals all over the world are very similar, with similar values, core behaviors, and even apprehensions. And here, technology is helping us to become aware of such similarities. And awakened spirit and heart, awareness, growing consciousness are ready to exercise, manifest, be put into action. And who else than humans are called to do that with a higher level of awareness and responsibilities, because those that know, those that are aware, have responsibility to take care and to hold the space for the emergence. So at the end, there's going to be a lot of discussions in the next months about various topics. But I think the message was very clear from all of them that I was able to host or listen. Let's continue to create circles, connect them, merge, empower, drop, reinvent, and above all, let's stay active, present, and assertive. I mean, we are the future we're looking for. And There is no they and them. It's only we and us. And I invite everyone to build on that in the future too. And we will help each other to be more and more concrete, to move from discussions to actions, to from models to emergence. And if there is us, there is the future. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. So many thoughts. I am in sensing to speak to the future and sensing in the future. During these 24 hours, I've been sensing where this can go. There's, as Sharon and Daisy said, oh, we should just have like an open space 24/7, a connectathon constantly running. Anyone can drop in, speak, and maybe that's something that we will see in the years to come, like this flow of conversation that follows where people are awake around and around the globe. Maybe that's something that will happen, and maybe we'll also return to these ancient rituals that we're speaking about, tying back to the ancient wisdoms and the old ways, because if we are going to make it into a new world, we need to listen to our old lessons. And I've been thinking, all it keeps popping up, the hints of where we need to go as a species. And I've been thinking lately that we grew up in a very tribal, collective fashion of sharing, where there was no real clear, there was identity, but that identity was very much immersed in your family and your tribe. And then we didn't really know what it was to be an individual because we were so connected. And then we set off on this route for maybe last few hundred years of exploring possibilities of being an individual. And we came to a point where it started, or it is heading into sort of extreme individual waters, where like anyone who doesn't completely agree with you is a complete fascist or a complete commie or whatever it is that you hate. So like 99.99% of the universe is just wrong because you're right. And it's very interesting to see, and in other ways, how that drive for individuality has made us so fragile and so severed and so incapable of dealing with life because we've lost touch. And maybe that is, as we now return back into a more tribal setting, hopefully in this tribe we think of as Ecocivilisation citizens. We've had the hindsight of the collective, and now we also have the hindsight of the individual, and we can balance those two things because we know what they both are. So I think there's something of great interest there. There's also something that I think Adnan mentioned on Wednesday about Simon Sinek, who spoke to this self-actualization as the highest level of the Maslow hierarchy, but actually it's this shared actualization that it's all about. It's not about us actualizing ourselves. It's we ourselves are we actualizing ourselves. So us in that broader sense, not me, but us. And I think maybe that is something that we can strive towards. If to speak to Pavel's these immediate steps towards protopia. How do we become more we? And I think there's maybe of the things we're working on from our side with Kodu and the altruistic wallet, like finding these channels and make it easy to engage, make it easier for you to, other than stay home and watch Netflix, to go out and help someone, find someone to help, find the context, find the new individuals who will become your tribe or your many tribes. And I think those are maybe the structures that we need to put in place to move us forward, because the personal development is important, but it's to a great degree voluntary. It's we're lucky if we get the opportunity to do it, but if we can start building systems where that is always an invitation to develop yourself, to deepen your relationships, if that can become part of the eco-civilization, almost as like that unquestioned rite of passage. It's just something you do because, you know, robots are doing the work. What are we going to do? Sit home and watch Netflix written by AI? When we have people like Gavin who can write us real human movies, or maybe we want to be part of the human movie, you know? So I think that is what comes next. This is the time to be artists and philosophers and treehouse builders or whatever we want to do, but to actually go out and do and connect. So there's a lot of more reflections, but I think that's more than enough from me right now. Maybe I can pass it over to the extremely handsomely dressed and looking Alexander.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Tim, for you know, you clearly have your thinking cap on. Wow. So, you know, this time that we've 24 hours, just absolutely insane. But I mean, that's what it takes, right? And it's also a lot of fun. So there's a component of this that is kind of solemn. There's a component of this where we're joining the cult. No, I'm sorry. That's not right. That's not it. That Daisy was talking about that, but no. But I do want to share just this little aspect of ritual, because, you know, if we are going to be emerging the possible world, this is what Jean Houston commented in her book that was recording the last words of Margaret Mead. And Margaret Mead said, in order to create the possible society, we need to create the spaces for the possible humans. And if we are to be the possible humans, we have to come together in community. She talked about learning community specifically, Margaret Mead. And so I think this is what we're doing. As we've said at the very beginning also, we are the ones who we've been waiting for. There's no one else who we have to say, okay, well, who's going to do this? Where are they? What are they? It's really, we're doing it. And it's not like we are the saviors of the world. That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. But it's about taking on the mantle of the evolutionary co-creators of possibility on this planet. And in order to do that, it means letting go of some of our old ways. It's going to mean new habits, as we said at the beginning also. New habits are really hard because the old habits are right there. We finish this, the next hour, what are we all going to do? We're going to sleep. What an old habit that is. We have to get rid of the habit. No more sleep. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, some habits are okay. Sleeping is probably okay. But there are things we're going to need to let go of. So I just want to share this little story because a lot of the beauty of these last 23 hours, now into the 24th, has been the sharing of stories from around the world, both personal and ones that come from our places of culture, ancient wisdoms, different traditions. And so this little story is a story of letting go and inviting in the new. Frankly, it's about ritual. And I would encourage each of us, and collectively, all of us, to practice some rituals of transformation, some rituals of metamorphosis, because indeed this is a metamorphosis. And so what does that mean to be engaging? It means taking on, shedding an old skin, taking on a new skin. It means some kind of change. And that means taking on a new name. It means becoming different than you were yesterday. And this becoming, that involves ritual. We can do this together. It means taking on a new name. We're going to be changing circular art to 𝐂𝐤𝐧𝐬 very soon. That's part of the renaming. So this is also taking on this new identity of filling this void, this liminal space between, as we talked about at the very opening session, what is no longer here on this world of ours. The planet is different than the world. The planet is the physical structure. The world is the place that we co-create with our own habits and societies and politics and economics and so on. So changing that from the world that no longer holds water, that no longer is viable, that frankly is a bankrupt proposition, to the world that is yet to come, because we're in that liminal space. But this What we have done here, I believe, in this 24th hour, is to do the proof of concept. I keep wanting to do the prototype. I'm one step ahead. To get to the prototype, which will be the next time, where we are going to be exploring, continuing to explore. This is a continuous process. We haven't finished now. This is just the very first preliminary step of being the eco-civilization we want to see in the world, right? Okay, so here's a little story. When my daughter was turning seven, because we went through the Waldorf system, and there's the 7-year cycles according to the anthroposophy of Rudolf Steiner. And so when she was turning 7, we did this elaborate ritual where we asked her to prepare this. It was something where she had to think about it a little bit. 7 years old. What are the little girl ways that she wanted to leave behind? And she would write them down. The things where she felt she had to be overly dependent or whatever. And what are the big girl ways that she wanted to move into, that she wasn't quite ready for, but she wanted to be, that she looked to others and she said, I want to be like that. So we asked her to write this down. And then we had this ceremony where we woke her up in the middle of the night, and we were dressed in white sheets, not scary ones, but nice ones, like togas. And we brought her down the stairs. She was half asleep, half awake. It was this liminal state. And we had her go through sheets of portals that moved from one side to the other. But before she went, she took her little girl ways that she had written down and put them into a bucket, and we set them afire so that they disappeared. And on the other side of the sheets, there were things that represented her big girl ways, like being able to talk on the phone. She was always too scared to speak on the phone. She wouldn't speak. She'd just be silent when she was passed to her grandmother or grandfather. She'd be quiet. So we had a phone on the other side, and she picked it up and held it. And she realized this was the symbol of moving into her big girl ways. This kind of rite of passage we need as well for us collectively. We also need it individually. So think about these things that celebrate what you are leaving behind as you become the possible humans in this possible society, what it is you're leaving behind and what it is that you are coming into. Where do we find the inspiration? I think we find it right here in the Connect-a-thon. It's in these engagements. If we continue to stay connected, we continue to engage, because by the way, the Connect-a-thon is over for this first round. We'll do another at the next equinox. But the Circular, which is going to be the Kodu, that globe that we have on the virtual space where we get connected, where we find each other, where we continue to dialogue, to interact, and to play, that is one of perhaps the new habits, perhaps the new ways of staying in interbeing, as we have experienced so powerfully during these last 23 hours. Wow, what little sleep can do to make you delirious like this. Cool. All right, I'm going to pass it right back to Violeta and just say, wow, thank you. This is very cool.
Thank you very much. And it's deep. It's asking us for commitments, those who are willing. But before we close officially the Connect-a-thon, I would like to invite you now, dear friends, colleagues, co-creators. Is anyone ready to share the reflections? I know that some of you have been present pretty much on all sessions, and some of you just took small steps away and came back, and some of you just want this never to end. So, but it would be great to have it recorded. How do you really feel now at the end of 23 hours of inspiring talks? How do you feel inside?
Exhilarated. I think, you know, when you work in the social space, it is just so hard to find people who can understand what you're out to do. And it is even more difficult to find like-minded people who can get on the same wavelength. And I think this is nothing short of a blessing, to find a community that you can align with and possibly expand with, you know. So for me, this is truly a blessing. And I think I have the rest of my work cut out in terms of connecting with all of you here and even taking this forward. And I think Ferial, I am just so happy to meet you here. Really great big hearts to you. And you know, I mean, there was just so many thoughts that were coming to my mind. And something that Alexander also mentioned, you know, I'm a firm believer of the fact that people try and build something out of themselves their entire lives, but at the end of it all, I think you're known by what you leave behind. So I think the work that we will do, you know, in our lives would only mean something once it becomes something. And it would matter by way of what it becomes, even once we are gone. So to quote something from one of the biggest political strategists from India, and he said something in Hindi, but I'm going to try my best to translate it into English. He basically says that the extent of realization we allow ourselves defines the extent to which our capacities must grow. Yeah, so I think that's something I would totally follow, and I do follow, and I sometimes try and share that. So I think this is the forum where I'd like to share this.
Thank you, Arti.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. This was, I think, a 1 in a million billion effort that just came out so beautifully well. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to come next? Patrick, how do you feel now that Connectathon is over and you've worked so hard at the back scene? How do you feel?
It feels great, and yes, I just want to say thank you. It's so nice to be in this community and just be reminded that I'm not alone, and there's so many out there that tries to do the same thing, puts work into co-creating and sharing and building these systems. So that feels great.
Thank you, Patrick. Donna.
I just put in the chat that, you know, I've talked a bit, so I'm happy to have anybody else just jump right in.
Go ahead, Donna. You always share some very deep wisdom, so please go ahead on record.
Okay. I hear us talk about, you know, feeling good about having a place, a safe space, a tribe. And we do need those places. We do need those places where we can replenish, where we can let it hang out, where we can speak in whatever the language is, the terms and whatever that, you know, that we've all been playing with and learning from each other in these ways. And at the same time, you know, how do I feel? I'm going to talk about hope in a moment, but we are right now 28 people. I don't know how many people were at the Connectathon in total, something over 40, I think, somewhere along the line. And each of those people can carry a torch and light some fires in the best sense. It's not a very good metaphor these days with the global warming, but we get the drift. So it's all good. It's all good. And we've got to find ways to connect with people who are not like-minded. And that doesn't mean that they're against the things that we're talking about if they were to relate in their own ways. And so I keep coming back to that. And that's a number of you that we've been talking together. It's moving beyond these circles that can become circular, that don't move outside the circles. And they are still at times our comfort zones. They are for all of us. And we're all feeling this urgency. So how to move this forward, and that's why, and I put it in the chat, I think we do need to invent and create, and that's the path we're on, new work systems. This is real work, folks, that needs to get done. It's not just hobbies on the side that people squeeze in. We've got to find the ways to make this, and it might not be mainstream right away, but we need to bring this into the work of society. And if we do that, I think we can gain more traction and all the things that we've been talking about here. So it's not an either or, but that's why, you know, one way is to build coalitions that bring people together across all the divides, not just the like-minded ones that are, or not just a couple of the sectors, but to bring in the people that are not going to go along with some of this stuff, at least initially, because they really need a way in to be part of the conversation and to navigate and figure out how to best navigate together. Because there's all the stuff we've been talking about here, those are patterns that I think we can bring to life out there in the world. Those are we're all human. We've all got all those things. So all those other people out there, they share in their own way many of the things that we've been talking about here. So that's really what I wanted to bring to life. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. And Robert, you're on.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm really tapping into my intuition to see, okay, so how do I feel after this beautiful connectathon? And because we talk a lot, of course, we exchange ideas. I was here in Portugal at the same time doing a workshop with 10 people, 8 to 10 people. And I could really sense the relationship between the energies that were going around here within the connectathon, but also with the people here. And the funny thing is that the knowledge and experience and wisdom that we discuss here was brought into the connectathon in some way, but also the other way around. So, and that was really for me a wonderful experience. Also, I think maybe we should also be conscious of what we have done on an energetic level, because I feel what we are bringing about and also sharing with each other that we do upload some nice things into the cosmos that will come back in certain practical ways for sure. And I think I want to ask some help from our beautiful host, Tim, if you are able to show very briefly the circle in the Miro board of all the 24 hours. Is that possible? Yeah? And I'll be short, just like 30 seconds. Here it is. So here's the Miro board, and the whole team has been working on this for months to organize a wonderful collection of, yeah, if you can center it a bit, would be great. So we went around the clock 24 hours, and I was thinking, wow, what if, like, maybe not from the next hour, another platform, a similar group like Ecocivilisation would do exactly the same thing. So we can all get a rest, but the others can continue this upward spiral. And it's fine that we are not there and it's another group with another banner, but it's all good because it's all about connecting. So I just wanted to share it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Robert. You mean that you're willing to try the infinite game? You know, this is a long-term vision. You're right. Let's build ourselves up to this challenge as soon as possible. And yeah, that is the vision, that this game never ends. This is just a proof of concept now. And before I pass the word to Ferial, I think there was a team over 150 people registered from all over the world. But of course, none of the sessions had this kind of audience. and we see that America and Asia is a little bit weak compared to Africa and Europe. But that is just an interesting challenge that we can rise up to. And for the next prototyping phase, we can improve that. So, Ferial, please.
So I just really wanted to say thank you to everybody that shared this space with me and with all of us. And my word, when I really sat down and thought about it, was hope. Now, I'm under no illusion that it's going to be really hard work and all of that kind of stuff. But I think there have been moments in the last little while that I kind of felt, wow, is this worth it? You know, like for me, that's genuinely how I felt, you know. And I think just being in the Connect-a-thon and all the beautiful faces and even just meeting someone like Artie, where we just kind of felt like a connection and all of that. And every one of you, I think the word that comes to mind for me is what Daisy had shared with us, right? Which was soul friends. And I really want to offer up just a few words of, or read a few words of what she did say for those who are here who weren't perhaps in that session. She said, in the Celtic tradition, there is a beautiful understanding of love and friendship. One of the fascinating ideas here is the idea of soul love. The Gaelic term for this is anamhora. Anamhora is the Gaelic word for soul. Sorry, anam is the Gaelic word for soul, and hora is the word for friend. So anamhora is the Celtic word or world. In that world was this soul friend. And I think this is what sustains us, because we're going to feel down at times because this is hard. And Connect-a-thon helps us to kind of get together and mingle up all of that and feel energized. But maybe we can help each other do that all along the way, which is in everyone's life, there is a great need for an amhora, a soul friend or soul friends. In this love, you are understood as you are, without mask or pretension. The superficial and functional lies and half-truths of social acquaintance fall away. You can be as you really are. Love allows understanding to dawn, and understanding is precious. Where you are understood, you are at home. So I'm going to say that, even not just here, but us taking that into the world. Because probably everybody feels like we do.
Thank you, Ferial. Thank you very much. James, again, would you like to come in? Because you were present at most of the sessions. I really wonder what kind of perspective did you get over this Connect-a-thon?
Oh, thanks, Violeta. I think it connected people on a deep level that one normally doesn't see. And so it's a prototype of what can happen. So we're all of like mind, but many of us here. But I think the goal of the Connect-a-thon was to bring new people, new minds together and kind of help them to meet. And like what I think Archie said was like her reaction was that, you know, she's obviously like similar mindset and heart set, but she didn't know of all these other people who were like her. So just not feeling alone in the world and what you're doing is probably in itself a major, it's a major discovery and a major impact on a person's life. So imagine how many thousands or millions of people out there. And also, what was the young woman's name who played the activist in our role-playing serial?
Cosima.
Cosima, yeah. Like her generation, the youth, the millions of them, how many of them feel this hopelessness, this helplessness? And how many, if they were exposed to this constellation of wisdom, could actually, how could it transform them? And then how could that transformation actually have an exponential impact on them, you know, in their work, you know, so.
Thank you. Thank you again. Anyone else would like to come in and share? Andy, you're new to this community. You just entered. So, and you were very active, present. How do you feel at the end?
I knew you were going to pick on me. Yeah. Okay. So I did write down a couple of things. I do feel in awe. I feel in awe of the commitment of the people here that have turned up for 24 hours and exponentially the number of hours before that to put all this together is, you know, as you said, I'm new to all this. So as a newbie, my heartfelt gratitude to you and appreciation to all of you for all of that work. I think what Gain just said is true for most of us at some point in our lives where we have gone through. Susanna talked about earlier about going through this kind of traumatic thing and having to let go of everything. And I think anybody that's committed to this personal growth development thing, whatever it is, has had these dark nights of the soul where you feel wretched and worthless and valueless, all of that stuff. So absolutely discovering that you are not completely insane, that there is something within each of us that wants to serve in a way that is meaningful and personal and beyond us, to find people that have committed huge amounts of time, effort, thought, love, money, to actually start building things. Vehicles for that is not just reassuring. It's like, wow. The metaphor that's going through my head at the moment is I was out paddling in the sea last week, and there was a rescue boat went past, and I wasn't going to put my hand up and say I want rescued, but the reassurance of a rescue boat was quite nice, you know, to be able to kind of push myself a little bit. So the feeling is, thanks for being a rescue boat. I've now kind of found you guys, and if I can be a rescue boat in the rescue boat for somebody else, that would be fantastic. The other thing is I feel Donna's really challenged me in my thinking. So thank you for that, Donna. Really, you know, it's, and I start to see a place where I could fit in, which is in that space to go out and try and connect with and bring people to this, because I'm not technically minded, and that's not my forte, but you know, I think I bring something else. So yeah, at the risk of sounding, repeat myself, thank you, Donna, and always to my friend Ferial, you know, right? So that's enough.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you. Anyone else? Then I got to go to you, Daisy.
I knew it.
The back scene, you were in the front seat. So how does it feel now?
Wow. For me, I feel like it was more amazing than we could have imagined. I'm leaving feeling super hopeful, infused with inspiration, excited. I feel incredibly blessed and grateful to be part of an amazing community with such epic humans, some of the most incredible humans on the planet, I'm sure. The level of gratitude I feel to be part of this, especially being one of the young ones. I mean, we're all young in many ways, but yeah, just super, super grateful. And this is just the beginning, and it's only going to be more amazing from here. So I can't wait for, yeah, what we're co-creating together and being on the platform together, and just the whole thing. It's going to be amazing. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Gavin, you were with us on a preparatory work also for South Africa and Africa as a whole. So how do you feel now when you see all these bits and pieces and also the part that you contributed to?
I feel really hopeful. Also, I guess that's partly the word that comes to mind, but I guess what I wanted to speak into was what Tim was saying, you know, that perhaps the next level is sort of collective actualization rather than self-actualization. And when I feel into this group and the sort of people who are here and what's possible between us, I really do feel hopeful and excited. And it's co-do that's coming, and it's the doing that I most look forward to. And I know many people here have, already got a lot of stuff that they're aiming to do. And I think, when I feel into it through a network like this and how it can spill out, it's really exciting. It is, I think, that change happening side by side to the collapse of the other thing. And I'm looking forward to journeying with you guys. I think it's, I feel very honored to be a part of it, and for Synchronicity to have kind of brought us together. And yeah, it's really amazing. So I look forward to seeing over the years how it all unfolds.
Thank you very much. Tomasz, you were with us on many sessions in spite of possible challenges. So would you mind saying a few words?
Hello to everybody. Thank you, Violeta, to invite me to say something. I'm really happy and grateful to everybody, to all speakers. I have a chance to listen to them. I was mainly an observer because I'm in this moment not in the best condition. As I have a special illness, but the theme, the topic theme is very interesting for me, as I am working in the same way in my life, and really I hope that this kind of meeting, as I have observed this time, would be very soon, because and I hope that I will also listen to all presentations separately from the archive, and I hope that next time I can also say something more than now, when I only can say to everybody, thank you for it was for me a very nice and good experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomasz. And Lucille, you put a couple of comments in the chat. Why don't you just go ahead and make a statement as well for the recording?
Yeah, I'm just super grateful to be, part of this, and so true to its name, Connectathon. I feel so connected. So I'm for quite a long time, I've been working in isolation and really, really yearning for a community of such amazing minds to be connected, that's starting to shine a light, that, the stars out beyond the planet can start seeing the works and the fruits of all the hard work. And I feel, nourished and just really grateful. So thank you for Ferial and Gavin for inviting me into this space and this community. And I look forward to, seeing future meetings and gatherings. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucille. Thank you also for all your great contributions during this Connectathon. We're almost actually coming around, so I would like to invite few that are still they still haven't said anything. So maybe Pavel, Day, Lev, Sonia, Jane, and Marcus, please come forward. Go ahead, Pavel.
Thank you, Violeta. Well, first of all, I will join huge congratulations to the team that brought this together. Well, I was like, let's say, minor part of it, made my contribution, but I feel there were people that were really holding this whole space to make it real. I think the most important thing is actually the manifestation. So if the manifestation, that's some event that joins the planet in the Sagittarius, is happening over 24 hours, and there is opportunity to kind of go and flow and connect and explore and meet so many beautiful groups all over the planet. So the proof of concept is there, I think. It has happened. And I just want to say that I feel we are not simply proving the concept, but we also manifesting the emerging reality of horizontal communities and ecosystems, leaders, thinkers, practitioners, joining together, tuning in to carry us forward.
Mm.
And that's what I think this whole event is about. It's actually it's not the UN. We don't need the United Nations anymore. We don't need national representatives to come and decide our fates, debate whether they're gonna wage some specific war or set up regulations which again privilege rich companies and kind of outcast everybody else. We need a different model, and I think this is part of that model. Is having the shared space of voices joining together, exploring what is possible, what is real. And I think the more we have these kind of connectathons happening, the more our planet is tuned into that future. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you, Pavel. And Lev, please.
Thank you, Violeta. I'm very grateful that I was able to join the party. A couple of my friends and colleagues from Living Cities Earth, including Pavel, have invited me to join, and I found this circle to be very rich and nurturing, really. And I wanted to share a couple of experiences we had outside of this event, but which might be helpful. 2 years ago, exactly in the during the International Day of Peace, we created a global movement called Living Planet. And since then, we held monthly marathons like this one, sometimes 24, sometimes 12, sometimes 72 hours. And these monthly meetings helped people from all over the world to connect, interconnect, create some offline projects. And we just celebrated 2 years. And we saw that those points of connections really brought together not only people, but large communities from all over the globe. So I think that this is, as they say, a beginning of a beautiful friendship, and we'll be very happy to stay in touch and work together on projects in different parts of the world. So thank you. And of course, I know how much work goes into organizing such an event. And as they say, it's not about only the information and the quantity, but it's really about the quality of the resonance and the vibrations which we emit together as a new group, new collective. So I think it's really more than is visible to the eye. Thank you very much to all the organizers.
Thank you, Lev. Thank you very much. Dave, would you like to share your thought?
I will not be able to scratch the surface, but I'll try to without going too long. I really appreciate the space that you've created here, the openness and the invitation. I came in at a time when Ferial was just inviting Suzanne to speak. I'm part of our relatively weak representation of the Americas here, not quite as but I got up at 2 in the morning to do a regeneration pollination event, and then Carolyn Carvalho, anyway, not sure how to pronounce her name, told us that this was happening afterwards, and that if we hadn't had enough after we'd done an hour of that and a social hour afterwards, that we could come pop in here. So yeah, it's 2 in the morning Oakland time, and now it's 6:49 in the morning. So I haven't done your 24 hours thing, but I didn't know it was happening until the middle of the night. And so a little bit of that feeding in that you were proposing, I'm sorry, I missed the face here and I can't see who was proposing that, is happening, since there are other circles and they're feeding into this circle, and so that is happening. And I think it's very beautiful. I will say, in terms of like how I feel, is like, well, it's not particularly good for my body to get up in the middle of the night and not sleep at all. And what if Suzanne was speaking about was her the sense of being and this somatic presence. And the other day we were talking about how to bring people in that weren't of this state of mind, coming to like what Donna was talking about, people who aren't in it yet. And she was wondering, oh, every time I come up, you know, not her, but somebody else was saying, oh, how do we get this shift in mindset? And I was thinking, well, you know, really, if you're sitting in the permaculture food forest together and you're reaching up and grabbing the fruits and you're there physically together, this is like it. I feel like we really need these like real visceral experiences. So while there is this magicalness and this power to being able to connect with all of you all over the place, what I long for is to be physically embedded in a physically rooted community. And that's been like, you know, lifelong for me. I was born on a commune. And so anyway, I feel like this longing. And so what I see is like this kind of space can potentially function as the big connectors of all the incubators of these grounded efforts to really build these real relationships with the living planet around us, in the places that we are, really like being in the place and part of the spirit of a place. So anyway, I feel like I've said my piece for now, although I'd really love to connect more deeply with all of you here.
Thank you, Day. And thank you for saying to keeping this as a huge, open, overall space where things can continuously emerge. I'd love to keep that spirit going. Thank you. Joseph, would you like to say something? Maybe he's no longer with us. Yeah, go ahead, Joseph. But please unmute yourself.
It's a wonderful effort, connecting so many people in one platform, sharing all their experiences, experiments. It's really wonderful. And what I feel now is, we have talked for 24 hours now, and we have listened for 24 hours now, though some are off, on, off, on, off. But the time has come. And as I am seeing the comments here, it's only beginning of the beginning.
Mm.
It's a beginning of a great beginning. And here we have to very seriously work out on certain action plan. Let us not wait just for the next connectathon after 6 months. What are we going to do in between? Let us do some serious action plan and time-bound action plan, how we can move about as a collective force. That is my suggestion. And I congratulate all here, especially the team which is in the driving force, like GN, Tim, Ferial, Daisy, all other people, those have been leading the whole thing. And I've been hearing this connectathon for past 1.5 months also. And I was waiting for the day to attend. But of course, yesterday I could not attend because I had 2 major events here in Glasgow to attend, and the workshop was going on well. And so it was wonderful. So I'm grateful to connect with you all. And I want to connect with you all continuously to work together. The world needs us. The world needs us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you very much. Sonia, if you're with us.
Yes, yeah, I am with you. I will be brief because I'm driving, but heads off, people, that you demonstrated how we can collaborate and co-create all around the world. And one has already mentioned, we don't need United Nations anymore because we have connected souls and hearts. Thank you. I'm grateful that you hold the place for us and for this to happen and to demonstrate that it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia, and safe drive all the way home. And maybe Lorraine, would you like to come in if you are still with us?
Hi, everybody. Sorry, just getting a little breakfast in me before we hop into the post-event socializing. Yeah, I'm really grateful to just be a part of such a wonderful community of people that, and especially a big props to the organizers who put this event together. I had the honor of bumping into Thomas Legrand yesterday at the 𝐂𝐥𝐬𝐧𝐬 Convention Center, where the Nest Summit is happening here in New York City. And it was just one of those moments where I'm talking to a bunch of people and then I see him walking this way and I'm like, Thomas? And we've connected on LinkedIn, but I've never actually communicated with him before. And so we had a fabulous conversation, and he's doing some really interesting work with UNDP. And I'm spacing on what the actual name of it's called, but it's essentially like food system consciousness. And I'm just like, this is so amazing. And and because of the people that were with us, I made some connections for him with some of these folks, and it was just fabulous. And then he spoke later on the evening and did his session here for the Connectathon. So it's just really great to be able to bring people together, and so great that day came after waking up really early for our regular scheduled regeneration pollination session. So it's lovely that we were able to bring some folks here to this space. So I'm really excited to see what we can build for the next session that we do here in 6 months, and what other amazing groups and people that we can bring into the space for that as well. You know, this work is very needed and it's the right time. And I just feel really honored to be a part of this group.
Thank you, Lorraine. And that's exactly why we need Connectathon, to host such connections, and then you can scream across the hall, hey, I know you, even though you have never met before. Exactly, that is so exciting. So I'm not sure if Jane is with us, but if Jane, if you're here, would you mind saying a few words? Okay, maybe she's not. Marcus, are you with us? Also not. And I see Stephen. Stephen, would you like to come in?
He's not here.
He's not here either. So Sharon, are you with us?
Yeah, I am.
All right. You know, it's like guessing.
Yeah, but actually I keep quiet because I have nothing special like to say. Like, you are all amazing people, and I'm so blessed to know you. And we are a tribe, and we should continue whatever we started as a tribe. And that's my takeaway.
Thanks a lot. And if I see Anna being with us, and I also see Amir, would you like to share if you're an active notes? No? Then I think, Tim, I have to ask you, you know, we've been talking for so many hours, feeling excited and feeling even challenged time to time. So how do you feel now?
Well, tired.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I'd say that's my first little bit, like, you know, like you've gone through a battle or a round of boxing or 12 rounds of boxing, but you're still standing and you didn't lose. And winning doesn't matter, but we're still here and we're still going. And this is the 59th minute of the hour. So yeah, look, I think this was a great, absolutely fantastic proof of concept for us as hosts. We learned a lot, and I think it was a fairly pleasurable, experience for most of the people who attended. So that said, I think that this is a great beginning of whatever we are now beginning. And if we are sort of wanting to wrap up around the end of the hour, and we don't have to, but Lauren has often offered to also host us in a post Connectathon chat, so that offer is also out there. But yeah, no, I feel good. This was great. This was actually way better than I could possibly hoped. So well done, everyone.
Thank you, Tim. And there is 1 minute left. So if you allow me, Tim, the final thoughts on before we close the session. And this I would like to dedicate to those that really hold the space in the last couple of months, and also on this 24-hour Connectathon so beautifully. So definitely, Tim, to you and your wonderful team, Social Systems, Kodo, including Robert, Daisy, Patrick, the entire Ecocivilisation team, Ferial, Natasha, Ramit, Alexander as the connector of all the networks that were there out there. Thank you very much for being such a beautiful interweaver. To all fantastic hosts, really, they were getting up at different hours, not normal to their schedule, and hosting spaces, sacred spaces for speakers to come forward. So thank you, speakers, and those that also contributed to the active sessions. I'd like to say thank you to the Art of Hosting group who was with us as well, and we are yet to bear the fruits of their contribution. To all space holders, participants, and active co-creators of this proof of concept Connectathon. I'd also like to especially thank to all the beings that were with us in all of the corners of the world. We could feel your presence. Thank you, the planet. Thank you, the universe. Thank you, life, for giving us a chance to deliver this and to learn from it. And who knows what's going to emerge. Many connections have been already established, strengthened. So do not wait for a small team of organizers. You know, we're not going to do the work for you. Go ahead, connect, engage. And I cannot wait for us to meet again at the next Connectathon and see the fruits of these connections that you're going to be doing and delivering in between. So see you when life connects us again on the frequency of the universal light. Aho.
Aho. Thank you, guys. Amazing.
Aho.